So getting your seat at the table, I've told you the story about Beth already, being proactive versus being reactive. It's not anything that's meant to be a dig on you as the marketer, but you may not ever get asked to show up to Alco. But what if you showed up? Or what if you said, hey, I'd love to sit in. I'd love to understand how pricing works. I'd love to know the products and services that I'm promoting. How did you come up with the rate for a checking account or a savings account or a money market? And how does that compare? Why is the big bank across the street offering $500 for a new account, yet I can't? How do we understand those things? And those are the discussions that need to be had so that you can understand that. Getting access to your strategic plan so you can see where the bank wants to go, knowing what the bank's KPIs are. Maybe the bank is in heavy deposit growth mode or loan mode or market penetration mode. You need to make sure that you know those things. We've actually had bankers that have come to us and said, I have gotten budget to do some advertising. And we say, great. What do we want to advertise? And they're like, yeah, that's a good question. I'm like, well, what's the strategic goal of the bank? Are you guys trying to do? And they're like, I'm not really sure. I don't know. So it's unfortunate that that is the answer, but sometimes that happens. And if you don't know, don't be afraid to speak up. Be respectful, don't be combative, but speak up. Ask intelligent questions, be curious, as Ted Lasso says, and ask for the things that you need because you want to do a better job. You want to be able to provide the results that everybody in the bank wants to see. So bridging that gap really looks at, customer sentiment. Yeah, people like us, they don't like us. To how can we actually impact that and make our products and services better? Not just what they feel, but how can we take that and make it more attractive so we can generate more? Brand awareness is great, but how do we turn that into market share or maybe wallet share to get even more of what our customers have? They have accounts elsewhere. How do we make it easy for them to do more with us and increase wallet share? And then this creative energy that we have that marketers are so famously known for, how can we turn that into strategies that help drive financial growth, that move the needle, that proverbially make the cash register go cha-ching? So when we speak the language of the bank, it helps us get better permission to be able to do the things that we want to do because we're supporting the overall goal and mission of the organization, not just looking at it from a marketing department perspective. Hopefully that all makes good sense. Second pillar is really moving into more of a strategic partner approach, trying to figure out how we can position ourselves as someone that people can go to help us develop a strategy versus, hey, I need this, do it for me, because that's not any fun for anybody. So at the service desk, hey, I've got an idea, do this and make it pretty. Put our logo on it, make it in our font, come up with the creative stuff. You're the marketing person, just make it look pretty for me. But we don't necessarily want to do that forever as marketers. So waiting for a product brief, we should be part of the discussion and the build of that. Brochures and swag and other sorts of things. Yeah, that's important, but that shouldn't be driving what it is that we do as a marketer. And then, staying on budget certainly is important, but more so, okay, well, if we went over budget, maybe we went over budget, but we generated way more accounts. So when we look at it at the end, we actually made more money than we were planning, and that offset the additional cost that we spent in the budget. So the economics of it makes a whole lot of sense. So when we think about being this growth architect within the organization, we want to focus on how we can make things profitable. We're still going to make sure they look pretty and on brand because that's what we do as marketers. But we want to make sure we're embracing words like being proactive. So when there is a conversation, we want to be in the room. We want to have part of the discussion before we're brought the solution or, hey, this is what we want. We want to be part of the development of that. We need to make sure that focus is on the things that make a difference and move the needle. And then the metrics that are there is, hey, did we grow the portfolio? Did we generate more loans? Did we generate more deposits? And sometimes we can get code inside of these online platforms that we can use to validate. Sometimes, and I would dare say oftentimes we can't because these third-party services that we're using may not allow for us to be able to track inside of the platform. So then we're going to have to work very closely with the deposit folks, with the retail folks, with the business folks, with the loan folks to look at what was volume last month versus this month. what was volume last year at this time versus this time, and look, and there may need to be some fuzzy math going on, taking into consideration the rate environment and other sorts of things, but working together with those departments to help us understand if we've been able to move the needle, how so. And if not, try to figure out what's changed, what didn't work, and manipulate and fix and change that.